We're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to everyone, and we're so glad to have you join us this evening. Thank you so much. We previously asked a few who were in before to kind of drop in the chat where they're from. We realized that chat is disabled in this function, so I'm so sorry about that. But we did see students registered from all the way from Texas and Georgia, as well as lots from California, Washington, Idaho, Oregon, Colorado, lots of different locations. So that's wonderful, and we're happy to have you join us wherever you're coming from. My name is Carrie Weeks. I use she, her pronouns. I am Associate Director of Admission here at Gonzaga, and I have the honor of being one of your moderators for this evening's Nursing at Gonzaga Admission Timelines and Benefits of the Program webinar. I'm going to ask my colleagues to introduce themselves, and then we will go ahead and get started. So Lindsay, you are up.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Carrie. Hi, everyone. Welcome and thank you for being here. I am one of your moderators as well today. My name is Lindsay Spencer, she, her, hers. I serve as our senior transfer admission counselor, though I work with both first year and transfer students along the way. I will go ahead and pass the mic to Alex.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alex Giffen. I am the undergraduate academic advisor here at Gonzaga University. I've been here for about 3 years, and I use she, her, hers pronouns, and I'm really excited to tell you all about our program and answer some questions.
Awesome. So we're going to get to Alex here really soon. Thank you so much, colleagues, for being here this evening. We are very excited to have our colleagues share some information with you. When you do have questions, since the chat is disabled, please type them into the Q&A. That will also help us organize them a little bit better. We can answer some of those, Lindsay and I, as we go, and we'll also hold some of those so that we can do a Q&A session with Alex at the end. We will also be sharing a few links for you in the chat as Alex speaks. So without further ado, I will turn it over to Alex. Thank you.
Okay, hi everyone. Again, I am here to speak to you about our Bachelor of Nursing in Science preview. I will hopefully answer some of your questions that might be itching at your brain right now. And if you have extra questions, you can ask them at the end. I will try my best to not talk too fast. So first and foremost, I want to just introduce what our program does for students starting off. We have a great and robust support team for our students, including a director of undergraduate nursing program, Dr. Chris Sloan. We have a director of our resource and simulation center, Susan Edwards, who works with our wonderful and amazing Kara Smith, who is our simulation operations specialist. As I said before, I am the BSN academic advisor. I advise all incoming freshmen and sophomores in our nursing program with a trickling of juniors and seniors. And then we have our program coordinator, Kenley Gus, our BSN clinical placement manager, Brittany Sleggers, who works on making certain that we have all of the clinical placements in our community set up and ready to go for all of our students in upper division. And last and definitely not least, Amber Pangborn as our clinical compliance specialist to make sure that we are compliant for state regulations. And this is just in addition to all of our amazing faculty that teach in the program. This is just the support staff that is here for all of the students. So as you see for our BSN admissions process, this is for a Bachelor of Science in Nursing program. We are freshman admit only. That means that we do not accept transfers. So students who start college at another university, students that start here at Gonzaga in a different department, etc., are not allowed to transfer into our program. You must be direct admit from high school or from running start in high school. And we do currently just don't have the space for any non or other students. Required coursework that's looked at for your admissions package would be 3 to 4 years of math, science, and just having a strong, rigorous curriculum. They want to check your grade and grade trends and make sure that you're staying along the same trajectory all through high school. They want to make certain that you have quality writing, That means making certain that you have grammatical errors omitted from your writing, making sure that you're answering the questions that are presented to you, and having a legible writing style for the admissions team to be reading over. They want to make certain that you have extracurricular activities and, if possible, healthcare experiences. So we know that sometimes this is difficult depending on where you live, but showing that you have some interests outside of school so that you're not just focused on academics, you have other interests, other things that you involve yourself into. Character is a huge thing here at Gonzaga University. So we are a very coveted program. There's a lot of people who apply to our program, and we want to make certain that you feel like you're meant to be here and you want to be here. So that character piece is going to come through in your quality of writing, and with the optional academic, the admissions interview that you can take advantage of, which I said is optional. Test scores are also optional, so if you would like to place them into your admissions package, you can, but they are not required. When you do fill out your application for Gonzaga, make certain that you check the box for the nursing department and that you want to be a nursing student. If you do not check that box and fill out the common application for the nursing program, it is possible for you to get into Gonzaga University without being a nursing major. So just make sure that you check that box if you're interested in nursing, and we'll go from there. So you'll complete the supplemental application. We are now an early action program. So that means you need to have your application submitted by November 15th. If you submit after November 15th, then you will be waitlisted. Early action admissions decision notifications for the fall will occur in late December of next year. So after you are done with a BSN in the nursing program anywhere, you are required in the United States to take the NCLEX to become certified as a nurse. That being said, we excel in this area in our support and making certain that students are ready and able to pass this course. So this is a chart that shows the GU and national average for NCLEX pass rate. You can see in 2020, 2021, for obvious reasons, we're at the pass rate at about 90%. And then from there on, we have had a high pass rate higher than the national average. Currently, the national average is about 84-ish. Our last pass rate for our graduating class was a 98.9%, with one student not passing in their first attempt. They did pass in their second attempt. So we make certain that our students are ready for the NCLEX. We make sure that they're going to pass their NCLEX on their first attempt, and we make sure that we support our students all the way through. As you can see, in the fall of 2024, we enrolled 103 students as freshmen into our program, bringing our grand total to 373 enrolled students in our program. The general degree requirements of our program: we have 128 credits that students must complete at the end of their program. They are split into 8 or 9 semesters, which I'll explain here in just a second. They must have a 3.0 cumulative GPA to enter into upper division nursing coursework, and a 2.0 GPA to graduate from Gonzaga. That being said, all students are required to maintain a C or higher in all nursing prerequisite courses. So I'll have a list of all those courses here in a minute, and you'll see which courses those are, but they are required to have a C or higher. A student that gets a C- in chemistry, for example, will be required to repeat that course and make certain that they pass it in their next attempt. I'm talking really fast. I'll slow down. These courses here on this page are the GU core curriculum. Any student that is enrolled into GU will be required to take these courses as they are completing their degree here at GU. You can see in year 1, the students are required to take an understanding and creating curriculum. These courses often will be transferred in by AP credits, by running start credits, etc. So you will take a first-year seminar, writing, a reasoning, communications, a math course, and then a science inquiry course. Your math course will be taken care of by our stats requirement here in nursing, and your science inquiry course will be taken care of by your biology requirement here in nursing as well. Once you enter into year 2, you will be required to take a philosophy 201 and a religion course. In your year 3, you will take an ethics and world comparative religion course. And then in year 4, a core integrated seminar. So these are all courses that you take in coordination with all of your nursing coursework. You are also required to take course broadening courses in your first 2 years of the program, a history, lit, fine arts, a social behavior course, and then all of these courses have designations. So some of these courses will have a writing enriched course designation, a global studies course designation, or a social justice course designation. So these courses, more often than not, if you have AP credits or you have taken running start credits at a university or a college or a community college, some of these will get taken care of. It really just depends on which community college. And I will be offering a session for all accepted students this June to meet with me on Zoom and review all of their transfer credits together. This next page, these are our nursing prerequisite courses. So these courses are going to look very similar across all nursing programs that you're looking at right now. You are going to be required to take a biology course and a lab, a chemistry course and a lab, a psychology course, a statistics course, anatomy and physiology 1 with a lab, anatomy and physiology 2 with a lab, a microbiology course with a lab, and then nutrition. These courses are prerequisites that you'll take with the greater university. These are not taught by nursing faculty, and some of these may transfer in. I will put the caveat out there that the ones that I see transfer in more often than not would be psychology, statistics, possibly biology and chemistry, but it's a lower rate with those two. Never anatomy and physiology, rarely, if ever, microbiology, and never nutrition. We want to make sure that your foundation is set and strong so that when you go into your upper division nursing courses like pharmacology and pathophysiology, you have a strong foundation. So anatomy and physiology must be taken at GU. You will take some courses taught by nursing faculty as a freshman and sophomore. As a freshman, you will take an introduction to healthcare or nursing course that is taught by nursing faculty or health sciences faculty. You will take a growth and development course and your sophomore year, along with a social determinants of health and medical terminology course. Like I said before, all of these courses in tandem with your GU core is meant to be a foundation set for you to go into clinicals as a junior and be set and ready and know what you're doing. As I stated before, students are split into 8 or 9 semesters. This is based on your first semester in our program. So you will enter into our program with a 0 GPA, no matter how many credits you have transferred in, even if you have an AA degree, you will have a 0 GPA entering into GU. And then based off of your first semester of science coursework and your nursing prerequisite work, you will have a GPA that ranks you from top to bottom. Now, before we even see your nursing GPA or your prerequisite GPA, we meet with students midterms first semester and ask their preference. So all freshmen will be given a preference of if they would like to be fall start in their junior year for their upper division nursing coursework or spring start in their junior year for their upper division coursework. Some students that have a 4.0 GPA in all of their nursing coursework in their freshman year, first semester, will choose to do a spring start of upper division coursework. They choose this for a couple of different reasons. Some of my students like to spread out their classes. Typically, my students will take about 6 to 7 classes a semester. So to decrease that, they like to go down to about 5 classes a semester so they can really focus on their coursework and make sure that they get strong grades. They can also decide that they want to take on a minor. Like I said, we usually are about 6 to 7 classes a semester, about 17 credits a semester. 18 is the max that you can do. So adding on a minor onto your coursework would require you to add about 2 more classes-ish to each semester, which would take you up to about 21 credits, if not 23 credits. So that being said, some of our students like to spread it out and have an extra semester to complete that minor coursework, which is required to be completed before entering into upper division. Also, our students have the opportunity to study abroad. We have a sister campus in Florence, Italy, and a lot of our students will take advantage of that and can do a study abroad semester in fall of their junior year. That is the only semester that our students can do an entire semester of study abroad. However, if our students would like to do study abroad and our fall start in their senior year, the 8 semesters, or their fall start in their junior year, 8 semesters, then they can do study abroad during the summer. They just can't do it for an entire semester other than fall of junior year. We also have students that'll take a leave of absence, an LOA. Instead of taking any coursework, they take a break in between. So our students that are either placed in Spring Start and would like to only stick to 8 semesters, or our students who are Spring Start and they just want to take a break because it's a lot of classes to be taking back to back, and sometimes they just need a break. So that being said, after your semester ends and I have your preference listed out, we will pull your GPAs, we'll rank it by science GPA or your nursing prerequisite GPA. And then if we need a tiebreaker, we use your overall GPA. This is all informed to nursing freshmen in January of their freshman year. So they have about 18 months to plan out what they can do with the extra semester, if they have an extra semester, or how all of these plans work. That first meeting that I have with my students in the fall of their freshman year, we make a 4-year progression plan. They have all of their classes listed out so that they know exactly how to complete their degree and the time that they choose that they want to complete it. And then once we know which track they're placed in, either fall or spring, then they get the decision what they would like to do with that extra semester if they happen to have that and did not choose it. I assume that you guys have lots of questions about that, so we can talk about that at the end. These are just a couple of the study abroad options that have been offered to our students. As I mentioned, the full semester is offered in quite a few different countries, not just Florence, Italy. I have a lot of students that have been in many different places, Oxford, Auckland. I've had Madrid, many different places that my students go, not just Florence, Italy for the full semester. My students that go abroad for the summer coursework, occasionally we will have a nursing course offered abroad. As you can see, Florence, Italy offered Nursing 210 and Glasgow, Scotland also offered Nursing 210. We have amazing faculty that sacrifice for all of us and go study abroad with our students for a summer and teach these classes to them. So we have these opportunities occasionally for nursing courses, but more often than not, when students go and do study abroad, they will be taking care of core coursework for Gonzaga, not nursing coursework. A lot of students will ask if they get to be trained in a specialty in our program, and the answer is no. What we are training our nursing students to be is nurse generalists. So what we're going to do is give you opportunities to go into a lot of different departments and a lot of different specialties so that you can see that you know exactly which specialty you would like to go to once you graduate from our program. The things that we will focus on, and when I say we will focus on these things, I mean from day one, once you enter into your Introduction to Healthcare course, we are going to make certain that you have basic safety in mind, that you know how to take care of your patients, and that you know how to not harm them. We want to make certain that you have sound clinical judgment. This means not just gaining a skill and learning how to create and follow through with that skill, but why and what you're doing, what it causes in the body, and how that interacts with how it interacts with other systems in your body. Professionalism is always key. We want to make certain that you have professionalism at heart. This is something I work on very hard with my freshmen. I make certain that they follow the 48-hour rule. We only email every 48 hours. We make certain that our emails are professional and straightforward. Professionalism is a very big piece in nursing, and we make certain that our students have that. We also want to make sure that you have ethical care. This is embedded in all of your coursework. We will make certain that you know how to create ethical care in your practice and make sure that your patients feel safe and ready with you. We also want to make sure you're well-rounded. This is why we include courses like communication, therapeutic communications. This is why we include courses that are ready for your NCLEX prep. This is why we include courses where you get to do community projects. We make certain that we're supporting our students as well as we possibly can. We know that you're people and your students, and we want to make certain that you're supported in every aspect. That being said, we also know that this is a very rigorous and tedious program. There are a lot of courses that are hard. Chemistry is hard. Anatomy and physiology is hard. We want to make sure that you're also having fun and that you know that we can be fun too. So that being said, we keep wellness in mind for all of our students. We have created community events for our students. So we have had now 2 annual scavenger hunts where we send our students across campus to take pictures with groups and find different resources across campus. We have study events. So for those hard classes in the lower division, chemistry, anatomy, and physiology, and then in upper division, those pathophysiology, pharmacology courses, we make sure that you have study events together, that we have embedded tutors, that we're supporting you as much as we possibly can. We also have started a mentoring program. So we pair an upper division nursing student with a lower division nursing student to help them through those hard times, learn how to be a college student, learn how to be a nursing student, how to prep, maybe get some free scrubs out of it. These are all the things that our mentoring program sets up. We also, like I said, have nursing course tutors. So we have students who have passed those courses with A's and are now tutoring students in lower division with those pieces. We have now clinical debriefing sessions. So we have a chaplain here on campus in our mission and ministry that works with our nursing students and one of our faculty in upper division on the hard things that our students go through in upper division. We want to make certain that they're supported. We want to make certain that they feel safe and that they feel like they have a place to talk. So we have these clinical debriefing sessions that we have been holding for our students as well. And we also have created 2 Zen dens in our basement. So they are calming spaces for our students to sit, feel calm, hug a pillow, cry, nap, anything. But we call them the Zen dens, and they're in the basement for our students to use. And we've actually just recently seen that some of our plant staff that take care of cleaning all of our facilities have been using the Zen dens as well. So they're there for mental health of all people, not just nursing students. Once you enter into upper division, you will be upper division is pieced out by 4 semesters. So you will start your first semester in, like I said, either fall or spring of your junior year. During that semester, you will have 2 rotations. So you will have a geriatrics rotation, and that geriatrics rotation is going out to the senior living centers and doing basic daily living skills. So learning how to brush a patient's hair, bed baths, how to transfer them from bed to chair, how to help them go to the bathroom, change them, those kinds of things. And then you will do a lot of lab time in our resource and simulation center, learning how to give shots, how to take blood pressure, how to take temperature, all of these pieces, how to put on gloves, how to make sure that you're wearing the correct scrubs, gloves, etc. I'm saying things wrong because I'm rushing through. Sorry. You will also have a pediatrics rotation during this semester where you go out to the Catholic schools in the community and you do height and weight and vision and hearing screening on the little kids in the schools. This semester is really meant to get you just ready to be a nurse. It is not in the hospitals yet. We don't throw you out there. You have a faculty with you the entire time. We make certain that you learn that skill before you go out and do that skill on a patient. So we want to make certain that you know what you're doing before you go and do it. We are always supportive. Our Resource and Simulation Center always wants you to feel safe and secure and learn from any mistakes if you happen to have them in your skills lab. That being said, after you are done with this semester in Washington State, you can apply to be a nurse tech at a hospital. This is like a job that you apply for at a hospital. They all offer these pieces, and you can become a nurse tech, be paid to do work, kind of like a CNA, but you get to actually perform to the level of your education. So after first semester, you'll be doing CNA work as a nurse tech, but after your second semester, you've learned more skills and you can actually be giving medications, putting in IVs, etc. So nurse tech opportunities are always offered. We have people who come and do presentations on our campus, and you get paid pretty well, and they're pretty flexible with you. Your second semester of upper division will be split into 3 different rotations. So you'll do a medical surgical rotation out in our Valley Hospital, which is smaller. You'll kind of be spread around in different units, ED, post-op, all of these places in med-surg, so that you kind of get a feel of what the med-surg rotation is like. Then you'll do a mother-baby rotation where you get to see live births. You'll get to the NICU. You get to go to postnatal, all of these pieces, so that you kind of see the whole broad experience of mother-baby. And then you have a community mental health rotation where this is outpatient psychiatric care for people in facilities. You'll get to deal with that psychiatric population in a really small facet where you get to kind of sit in on some group sessions. And then, of course, the Resource and Simulation Center is always embedded in every semester, making certain that you have these skills down pat, that you have this experience with our mannequins, that you have this experience with other students and know how to talk through different scenarios, how to call the doctor, etc. So that is your junior year. Your senior year, this is when you're going to go out to the bigger hospitals. You'll have another medical surgical rotation during the semester. This is at Sacred Heart, so it's at the bigger where you might go out to oncology. You'll have different units for different students. You'll also get a pediatric rotation at our pediatric hospital here in Spokane. You'll get to see the sicker kiddos, the more chronic conditions, and have experience with that. You'll also have an acute psychiatric mental health rotation. This is the only rotation currently that is placed outside of Spokane. So your acute psychiatric mental health is at Eastern State Hospital. That is in Medical Lake, which is about 20 to 25 miles outside, 20 to 25 minutes outside of Spokane, where you will have to use a vehicle to get there. A lot of our students will carpool for that semester, but they will need a vehicle to get there. They also have the Resource and Simulation Center. They'll have a little bit more of their simulation during this instead of just skills, where they get to have access to set up hospital rooms, and they get to go in and out and view each other as they deal with different scenarios, hemorrhages, seizures, different scenarios they may not see in the hospital that we want to make certain they get access to and they have experience with. In their final semester, they will have a senior practicum. In their third semester, they'll be asked which of their rotations that they absolutely adored and they want to go back to. They will list them out, and then they will be placed in a senior practicum for the first 5 weeks of their last semester, where they get to actually work alongside one nurse for 5 weeks and work that nurse's schedule. And they will learn everything there is to learn and be hands-on with patients, help that nurse with their load, take on patients on their own with the nurse helping them. And our students absolutely love this rotation. They love being able to get ready of what they're going to be doing once they leave the program. And this is a very big deal. During the senior practicum, they do have the opportunity to go to Seattle, to the Children's Hospital out in Seattle, if they would like to be in that. We typically only have about 4 to 5 spots, so it's not a lot of spots. We send out a faculty to be out there to teach our students, but we do not house our students, nor do we transport our students. So if our students get into the Seattle Children's rotation, they do have to find their own housing and their own transportation while out in Seattle. We also have a community health course that they take once they are done with their senior practicum. This is where they'll do a community health project. So something that hopefully orchestrates what they've learned in their senior practicum, something they can do for the community to better the community health-wise. So our students come up with some amazing things. They come up with some great groups for people in the community. One of our students' groups came up with a support group for people, parents who have children on the spectrum, and they started creating something like that. They just do amazing work. I'm always impressed every semester with all of what our students do during this semester. And then, of course, the Resource and Simulation Center, where they have their final simulations, where they get to actually be one-on-one with a patient and be watched and tested on their skills. They have a disaster simulation where they get to learn how to tag people for medics. There's a lot of things that we do in this semester to make sure that our students get all of the access and different experiences before they go out and they do this in the field. Okay, so where are our graduates employed is the short answer is everywhere. We have ROTC students, we have student athletes, we have students that'll go into Jesuit Refugee Service, Jesuit Volunteer Corps, Mercy Corps, and then the RN residency programs are becoming pretty popular. So it's once they go into a hospital and they get hired into a hospital, they get this residency program. So they get to be this new grad learning how to get into their hospice unit, learning how to deal with all of the different programs and policies and procedures. And that's becoming a little bit more popular. It varies in time. So sometimes it's, 6 weeks, sometimes it's 6 months. It really depends on the hospital that you go to and the state that you're going to. That being said, the only last thing I can say is NCLEX. When the students take NCLEX, you would typically take it in the state in which you are deciding to practice. So if you're going to take it in Washington and you want to practice in Washington, you take it in Washington. If you want to go to California, then you would take it in California and practice in California. That being said, if you take it in Washington because you're trying to get a job here in Washington, and then you decide that you want to go back home to California, it is just paperwork and making sure that you just transfer that paperwork. You do not have to take the NCLEX again in California. You only have to take it once and pass it once. It's just paperwork to get it transferred. That's the end. So I guess we can just do questions. Okay.
All right. Thanks, Alex. Sorry, it just takes my camera a little bit of time to pop on again. Thank you so much. That's lots of great information. And Lindsay and I have been answering a few questions in the chat, and we'll read a couple of them. Please keep putting those questions into the Q&A, and we can take them from there. And we might have you do a little recap too on some that were maybe some of the most popular kind of topics and areas. We have one from a student who says that they're a freshman in high school and about to be a sophomore. And as a sophomore, they plan on taking fundamentals of health class, and then as a junior, a CNA course. They're wondering about if those credits are considered college credits or just high school credits, and then how should the student prepare for college if this is an area of interest for them.
So I'm not sure your courses and what they would transfer in as. If they're being offered through a community college, then my assumption is that they would transfer in as credits, but they wouldn't fulfill any of our core. So it would be something that would be just kind of giving you a good foundation and knowing that you want to go into nursing, but I do not think that those would transfer in to cover any of your core coursework. It really depends on what they're being offered by. So like I said, if it's community college, then they'll transfer in as credit. If it's just something that's being offered by your high school, then it's just something for your experience to learn and to become a CNA, which is completely outside of the nursing program. That's just something that you get to do as a job.
And Lindsay, if you have any additional thing that you want to add as our transfer counselor, that might also be helpful to this student. But Alex, I think you covered it well too.
Absolutely. Alex did cover it really well. Like she said, if it comes from a community college or a university, we will consider it college level in our admission review. And that does strengthen your application in terms of your academic review. If you're hoping to transfer it into the university, if admitted, I would just encourage you to save any syllabi from health related and STEM related coursework. The way it works at Gonzaga, regardless of major, is major related, minor related, and more niche related content requires syllabus review. So, saving syllabi from your STEM coursework and anything related to nursing coursework will at least allow us to review it if admitted and determine if there is equivalency available. But I do want to also just encourage you in the sense of taking health coursework while in high school does help make your application more competitive. It shows interest in the health sciences and experience in the health sciences. So, regardless of transferability of coursework, that helps your application overall.
And I think there was a 2, how do I prep for college? I would give yourself some rigorous coursework and see how you do with those. I think a lot of times when you're in high school, you learn how to regurgitate and pass your tests by regurgitation. College is not always going to be regurgitation. It's going to be competency based. So we want to make certain that you know step 1 before you go on to step 2. If you just said that you knew step 1 and you vomited it on a piece of paper and then you completely forgot step 1 while going to step 2, then it's not going to work because a lot of the coursework is like that. So I think prepping with more rigorous competency based education would be the best way to prep for college, especially nursing programs.
Excellent. Thank you, Alex. All right. We have some questions about the NCLEX pass rate for Gonzaga nursing. Can you just remind us what that is? And then also kind of what does a typical schedule look like for a first-year nursing student?
Yeah. So NCLEX pass rate for our last class, I think we had 56 students take the NCLEX. We had 55 pass. So we had a 98.9% pass rate. Our fall class was 100%. Our spring class was 98% or something like that. So pretty high. It's definitely high compared to the national average. That being said, second question, what is the typical freshman? I assume we're saying freshman schedule. I assume. Okay. Freshman schedule. I'm going to answer it in both ways if you were answering it in different, or if you were asking two different ways. One, freshman schedule is typically about 6 to 7 classes. You'll usually be taking biology, psychology, statistics, first year seminar, communications, writing, those kinds of classes. And then as far as schedule goes, it really varies, but you usually have, morning classes on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and evening classes on Tuesday, Thursday, but it kind of varies. You're always going to have little blocks of openings. So you'll have, 4 hours on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or 4 hours on a Tuesday, Thursday. So it's a little bit different than high school, definitely, but occasionally you'll have only Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes. You're enrolled in your first semester of coursework here. So that being said, it's a little bit more set for you in your first semester. Your second semester, you get to choose what your schedule looks like. So that's a little different. As far as upper division, if you were talking about your first semester of upper division, your first semester is pretty laid back. It's still classes. You have about 4 classes that are in person that are kind of set Monday, Wednesday, Friday, those kinds of things. It's with your entire cohort. So all 45 of you would be taking those classes together. And then you have your rotation, but your rotation is only 1 day a week for your first semester of upper division. So I think that answered both of those. And then was there a second part to that question?
I think you got the second part.
Okay.
That was, yes, excellent. Thank you. Now there's some questions about acceptance rate and both on the rates themselves, but then also SATs, ACTs, and Lindsay and I can jump in too on any of these if that is more helpful.
Yeah, I think you guys are probably better suit to answer those ones.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll start and then Lindsay, you can jump in too if you'd like. We're generally around a 45% acceptance rate for applicants. So it's a highly selective process. There was a question about what are competitive SATs and ACT scores. Our middle 50% of students that were admitted just in all majors this last year were about a 1290 to a 1410. So 25% are below that were admitted, 25% were above. That's of students who turned in test scores. And the nursing test scores do tend to be in that higher part of the middle 50. If they turn in test scores. For nursing students, you don't have to turn in a test score either. You can, when you don't turn in a test score, we put more emphasis on your GPA, your curriculum, so the classes that you're taking, the challenge of the curriculum, and your writing in the application. So you get to choose whether you want to use test scores or not.
I'll just add, Carrie, sometimes acceptance rates can be really daunting numbers. If you have any interest in nursing whatsoever, you should apply as a nursing major to Gonzaga. If you aren't admissible to the nursing program, but you are admissible to Gonzaga under a different major, that may be a possibility for you. So I just encourage all students, don't let those big scary numbers scare you away too much. We'd rather have you apply and have thorough conversations down the road than not apply and miss out on a possible opportunity. Additionally, Carrie, forgive me if you already said this part out loud and I missed it. We really strongly encourage admission interviews. So if you're trying to figure out where you are on that spectrum of admissibility and how competitive you may be for our nursing program, meeting with one of our admission counselors, we're happy to provide some guidance in that regard. So it's a daunting process, and we pride ourselves on being pretty nice people over here at Gonzaga, and we would love to meet one-on-one to help you as you're navigating all this.
Absolutely. And I'll add in as well the activities that you can participate in the healthcare field. Those are important. Things like, as somebody asked earlier about getting their CNA. That is something that we look favorably on, but also things like shadowing and doing any type of volunteering in healthcare, partly so that you can actually truly feel it out and see if this is a field that you really enjoy and what you might like to do, but also so that you can test some of the skills that you have, and so you can speak to that as well when you do those interviews, like nursing, like Lindsay was suggesting, when you're a nursing applicant, and also write when you write your essays and when you tell us about why you're interested in the field. Having that experience can be really, really helpful as well. Awesome. Let's see. We have a question about the nursing LLC. Can you talk about the nursing LLC, Alex?
Can a little bit. These are newer, so just so you're aware, this has only happened a couple of times. It's not something that we've been doing for a while. And of my understanding, I believe that the nursing LLC is expanded to the healthcare LLC. So it is something that you can participate in. I think it'll introduce you to a lot of different healthcare students. I think that it is a great opportunity for students to take part in, but unlike a lot of other majors, our students are embedded in their courses. So once you enter upper division and you're in your coursework for rotations, you're pretty bonded with your nursing cohort. So it's not something that you're going to like not be bonded with your nursing students, but it is something that you can take part of, and you'll have some courses with some other healthcare students.
Excellent. Great. And then can you tell us about how many people are enrolled each year?
Yeah, we work with a consortium called Clinical Placements Northwest. They give us a certain allocation for clinical spots, and the clinical spots that they've given us is about 88. So we shoot for about 88 enrolled freshmen every year. That being said, this last year we had 103. So it fluctuates. But yeah, about 88 is what we have enrolled in every single year, every cohort. But then, like I said, they get split in half. So then we have about 40, 45 in each cohort.
Excellent. Thank you, Alex.
Yeah.
Are there any additional questions?
No such thing as a stupid question. That's what I always say.
Looks like we have a new one.
Okay, I see it.
Okay.
Do most nursing students continue into upper division? Yes. My short answer to that is yes. My answer always to this is you have to get yourself out of the nursing program. So we do have strict parameters. I said before that you have to have a C or higher in all nursing prerequisite courses. You can only fail so many classes. So if you get a C- in chemistry, and then you get a C- anatomy and physiology, and then you get a C- in anatomy and physiology 2, you are dismissed from the program. That doesn't happen often, but we have a handful that will get dismissed before they enter an upper division. And then we have another handful that usually decides that they want a different major because they've decided that they don't like bodily fluids and they'd rather do accounting, or, whatever it is. So we usually lose about 10-ish, 10 to 15 students from a cohort, right around there. So our current freshmen at 103, I assume 90-ish will enter into upper division. Anyone failed the 3.0 GPA? Doesn't happen often, but we wouldn't have that parameter there if somebody hadn't not made it. So yes, somebody has. How much does housing cost and tuition altogether each year? That's not me.
I'm sending a link right now. I'll include that information.
There is a question about scholarships, what scholarships that are offered at Gonzaga that are specifically in nursing.
Yeah, we have
Um,
a couple.
What's that? There,
We have
yeah,
a
there are
couple.
some that we just kind of that are automatically, students are just kind of automatically considered for. And then there are Army ROTC nursing specific scholarships as well. So those are really great scholarships. Sometimes they can be full 4-year scholarships. They can be what are called 3-year advanced designee scholarships, where it pays for everything except tuition in that first year, and you can still use other merit scholarships and other scholarships that you have to help pay for part of that tuition too. Did I cover that, Alex, or do you know of any other?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple that are offered to just upper division nursing students. Those are those nursing specific scholarships. So yes, we have a couple.
Alex, there's been a question about wanting to know how long the class might be or the time period is where you are learning to give shots to individuals.
Well, that's a part of a class. So that's going to be a skill that you learn. So there's a list of skills that you learn every single semester in your clinical rotation course in the Resource and Simulation Center. So giving a shot is just one of the skills that you would learn. I don't know how many classes it takes you to learn that, but we have mannequins and we have arms and we have all of these different pieces where you learn these things. They make certain that you know what you're doing before you put a shot in somebody's arm. The last thing that we want is for you to go out on campus and give vaccinations and for all the faculty and staff to be terrified to get shots from our nursing students. So we make certain you know what you're doing before you go out there.
It looks like maybe one of our links, I'll double check our links, that maybe there was something that was cut off or something in a link. So let me double check that.
So if I plan on going into the military and being a nurse for the Navy or another branch of the military, should I take college while in the military? That's an ROTC track. So you can do ROTC. They love nursing. They want you to be a part of these programs. So if I were you, I'd look into ROTC. There's a lot of overlap. We work with each other. I keep all of my ROTC students through the entire program so I can support them and make sure that they're getting everything that they need. But there's a lot that you can do being an ROTC nursing major.
Alex, do you mind if I add to that as well?
100%.
Yeah. Just to note, Brody, regarding your question about entering the military, GU's BSN, our nursing program, you do have to apply for directly out of high school. So you wouldn't be able to enter the military following high school and then apply into nursing at Gonzaga. So like Alex said, the ROTC program is kind of a perfect blend of that, of still getting the military experience while at Gonzaga, but not not enrolling in the military immediately after high school. So that's just an important distinction, that you do have to apply into our nursing program strictly during your senior year of high school. It can't come a few years after high school. Hopefully that makes sense and is helpful. Thank you, Alex.
Yeah. I think a medical, as somebody said, medical assistant certification, it's just like CNA. I think any of those experiences and putting those on your applications is really going to strengthen your application. That's my understanding. Sorry.
Yeah, when in doubt, list anything and everything health related on your application. You can trust us to sift through it, but if you have any trainings, any experiences, any clubs that you've been a part of that are health or STEM related, we would rather you overlist activities and involvement than underlist. So definitely list medical assistant programs for sure.
Does Gonzaga do a graduate degree for anesthesia? I'm thinking about becoming a nurse anesthesia in the future. Yes, we actually started our entire nursing program with graduate programs. The BSN program is one of the newer ones. So we have MSNs, we have a family nurse practitioner program, we have a psych mental health nurse practitioner program, a doctor of nursing practice, and then yes, a doctor of nurse anesthesia practice that is technically offered through Providence, but you would graduate with a Gonzaga degree. So yes, we do have that. I have quite a few freshmen right now that are interested in that, and I get them in contact with our director of DNAP so that they can ask questions and know how to prep.
Excellent. Thank you, Alex. Earlier, there was a question about research just in general at Gonzaga. So I want to put in the chat a link for our research. It's our Center for Undergraduate Research and Creative Inquiry as well. And then we'll also get in the chat that graduate information as we're looking to see if there are any more questions.
For study abroad during the summer, how long is the program, and will students only take one nursing class? So for that, I did highlight that there's nursing courses offered sometimes, but it's not common. Typically, if you're doing study abroad in any time, summer or during the semester, you would be taking core coursework, not nursing coursework. how long do the summer study abroads? I think it depends on the study abroad, but typically like 5 weeks-ish. I don't think it doesn't go much longer than that. It's not like the entire summer. It's usually a little bit smaller, but it really depends on the study abroad. We have an amazing study abroad website that lists out all of our study abroad programs. So I would definitely peruse that if you're interested in study abroad. We have a great study abroad program here.
All right, have we run out of questions in the Q&A? I think maybe those are a lot of really great questions. So excited about your interest and all of those questions were excellent. So I see one more popping in. Do students reach out to the advisor of our region for interviews? Yeah, Lindsay, would you find the contact your admission counselor link? Perfect. That would be a really great way to, if you reach out to your admission counselor from your area, and then we can set up interviews with you. We do them over Zoom, we do them over the phone, we do them in person if we are either in your area or you are in ours. So we're happy to do that. And Lindsay put it right in the chat. So we've got it right there for you.
And
And I think that's
also,
it.
you
Go
can
ahead.
meet with any of our admission counselors too. So if you visit campus and you meet with someone who's not your admission counselor, if you meet with me or you meet with Carrie and we're not your admission counselor, it will still count towards your application positively. So we definitely encourage you to connect with your admission counselor, and it's okay if you end up meeting with someone else as well.
Great. Alex, do you want to talk at all about if there's about kind of the advantages between doing a BSN first or doing another major and then a master's? Do you have any
So
like
just
general
so
ideas?
most hospitals will want you to have a BSN before you get a master's degree. That is like a big requirement. If you look into it, BSN gets you magnet status at hospitals. So a lot of the times they'll want a lot of nursing people in their hospitals, nurses in their hospitals to have a BSN because of that magnet status. So the advantage is that you'll be a little bit more employable with the BSN rather than having another major and then going into a master's. But nursing, there's so many different pathways of doing this. There's so many different certifications and so many different ways for you to become a nurse. So BSN is not the only path. There's a lot of different paths for sure. That's the only advantage I could think of. I've never been to Spokane, but what's it like there? Are there opportunities for jobs and fun things to do as well? Well, heck yeah, Spokane rocks. I'm raising my kids here in Spokane. They have a great school. There's a nightlife. There's concerts that come. I love Spokane. It's Pacific Northwest, all 4 seasons, but it's not extreme. I came from Montana where it was extreme. So I don't have this -40 anymore. It's pretty fantastic. I mean, I think Spokane is a great, what do they call us? They call us a big little city or something like that. So I think Spokane's great. You guys can speak to it. What do you think, Carrie and Lindsay?
Go ahead,
I
Lindsay.
love
You were starting to type stuff.
Yeah, I love Spokane. I've been here for the last decade or so. We're about a 10-minute walk to downtown. I typed a bit of this in the Q&A as well, but we're about a 10-minute walk to downtown. We just have some really great restaurants. There's great things to do and communities to plug into. Lots of great annual events and traditions in Spokane, but we also have a lot of great arts and culture coming through. I typed Hamilton came through this last weekend. We also just have regular Broadway shows and concerts happening. I think the thing I've loved about Spokane, I can run into people all the time, and I still discover new things about the city. It feels like every year I've learned something new. There's something exciting still happening. So it's a special city, and it really pours into our Gonzaga community. Yeah, it's an excellent city to go to college in, and if you decide to end up afterwards as well.
And I'll add to that too, that a lot of people love the combination between being so close to downtown and the amenities of a downtown with the festivals and the concerts and the restaurants and the Broadway shows that come through, but also being able to access the outdoors really easily. We have the two largest state parks right nearby us. We have 5 ski areas within a 90-mile radius of campus, 33 golf courses. You can go hiking and biking and camping and canoeing. And we have a great GU Outdoors program where they will take you there. So if you don't have a car, you can do that. Our next question was about just getting used to, if you're not used to the winter and the weather, do people get used to that? And certainly some do. Some bring their cars and they're from really warm climates and they've never tried to drive in snow and they just sit there. The cars just stay on the campus, and others learn how to do it, and that works too. You also don't have to have a car. The city bus comes right through campus. Every 15 minutes, it goes to downtown. And this is your bus pass. Your GUID is your bus pass. So that's really a great amenity to have as well.
We have a lot of California students. They adjust.
They dress in layers. Everybody dresses in layers because the weather can change, especially in the spring. We can get all 4 seasons in the spring sometimes. So it's just helpful to kind of dress in layers and be ready for that. But I love the seasons. I'm from Montana too. And I came from a place where I always say, well, we have winter and we have summer and then we have like not much in between. And I love the in between. Spokane has beautiful falls and springs, and I really appreciate that in between as well. And quite a bit of sun. We're the drier side of the state. So we do get snow over the winter, and that's also really fun. And the skiing and the snowboarding, lots of people really enjoy that as well. Awesome. It looks like we've kind of exhausted all of the questions, Alex. You've been a rock star. Thank you for answering so many of them. Thank you all for asking those questions and for being here and for your interest. We're really excited that you're interested in Gonzaga. Please do reach out to your admission counselor when you have questions. And if you've got questions for Alex, we can get those to her as well, and her team. But thank you so much for being here tonight, and have a great evening. Take care, everyone.
Thanks all.
Bye.